Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is Mike Matthews. It's episode 888. Broadcasting from Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth, located somewhere in PodCastro Valley. Today it's part 3 of my 4-part into an interview with the Seattle, Washington band called Exohxo with JASEN, SAMFORD, and Danny Olson. Gonna hear some great music from them. Plus, we hear from Benita,
Mike's Daily Podcast,
the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. They're also Nita,
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I love to eat vegetables. Today is National Eat Your Vegetables Day. I remember when I wouldn't do that in any way because all I ate was fast food, and I can say that it really knocks your body into disarray. The only fast food vegetables you can find are French fries, and that's really more oil.
Mike's Daily Podcast
Than anything. Oh, and the Golden State Warriors won. It's so funny to think.
Mike's
the last time
Daily
I saw a game of theirs
Podcast
live at the stadium, at the, what's it called? The Ortega Stadium? The Omega Stadium? The Oxymorons? Anyway, whatever that stadium is. Look, it just walked in. Hi, Mike. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. How y'all doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
It's the Oracle Arena.
Oh, yes. Oracle Arena, right. Yeah, so last time I saw a game there, they had like the special ceremony for one of the retired players, and the owner came out and all the fans booed the owner, and the team lost the game that night, and it just looked like it was not going good for them. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster.
Brewmaster, what kind of root beer did you make today?
I made a delicious vegetable root beer.
That doesn't sound good.
It's got vegetables in it. It's healthy. Oh, boy.
Root. Well, you'd think a root beer, because it's already got a root in it, it should be healthy.
Mike, I don't think that's why they call it that.
Uh-huh.
Mike, I don't think anyone should drink my root beer.
But you know what? You still make it, and we still serve it. It still seems to be a hot item here. Nobody touches my Matthews Chinos, even though my Matthews Chino's empty. I'm so sad.
Mike, you gotta get a handle on yourself.
Yeah, Mike, things aren't going that bad. You're right. So eat your vegetables today. There's so many vegetables to choose from. Not just the one in the frozen section. The ones that are just like in bags in the frozen section of your supermarket are completely okay to use, to get. They don't add anything to them. They just flash freeze them at their peak. So you're getting really good vegetables, and that's just try to put more of those on your plate than anything else. Make the meat smaller, make the pasta or rice or whatever you're making smaller. Now, potatoes are a vegetable, right? Or are they a fruit? Are they one of those stupid things that ends up being a fruit and I was wrong the whole time? No, that's a tomato. Sounds like potato, but not. Anywho, yeah, so potatoes can be, when you add all the butter and everything, aren't so good, but whatever. Do whatever you want. I'm not a doctor. I'm not Dr. Phil. I'm bald like him, but I'm not him. So that's it. I'm done with my suggestions. You're welcome.
Mark, I want to tell you that was very helpful what you said, because I thought French fries were vegetables. And that was the only vegetables I was getting all day.
That's right, Mike, because we love French fries. And mashed taters. Benita, your mashed taters are the best in the world. Thanks. I'm going to make some right now. I need a big pot. Yeah, when the Warriors won, I didn't watch the game because I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I hate those people that don't follow the team the whole season, because I know the dedication it takes to follow a team. You got to, that's a lot of games. And you got to be there for every game and cheer them on and go through the bad times, the dark. It's like having a kid. It's like, says the guy who's never had a kid. But no, you got to stick by that kid all the time, right? You got to be their champion. Say, hey, you're going to do great. Just keep at it. Whatever it is that they're trying to do, play football, baseball. Maybe they're into acting. Maybe they're performing. You go to all their performances if they're in drama, whatever. And then you see them reach success. But it's like that uncle that comes along after you've been sticking by your son the whole time going, yeah, you can do it. And then all of a sudden the uncle that hasn't been around in 20 years shows up and goes, yeah, all right. Just as the kid is getting his valedictorian award. Not that this happened to me at all. No, really, it didn't happen to me. I did not get a valedictorian. I got something kind of like, they gave me like a sympathy valedictorian. It's like a you're swell-dictorian is what it was. But that's what I'm just saying is that I don't want to be a Johnny-come-lately supporting the team. But I didn't watch the game. I did hear all the fireworks go off. The whole city of PodCastro Valley was shaking because we're right next to Oakland, and that's where the stadium is. It just was loud. Boom, boom, boom. All from the moment they won into the wee hours. It was like New Year's Eve. And Basil the boxer got a little afraid, and he walked up to me, and he's like, what's going on? And I said, it's okay. It's okay, my furry buddy. It's okay. But all is well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And that, my friend, is why we bring you the segment Emails from Email and your comment, not so comments. So you can comment in there and talk about what you think of vegetables and what you think of fried foods and the wonderful teams that you support, whatever sport that might be, or that kid that you support, or whatever it is. Thank you for standing by someone else's side. I think we're pretty much done. We're going to jump into the interview right now as like a life preserver type thing. Either that or hope that Benita shows up with those mashed potatoes soon.
What'd you say, Mike?
Mashed potatoes soon.
It's mashed taters.
Right. Okay.
Or we could just drink my delicious oat beer.
So, yeah, if you want to comment on any of that, email me, mikesdaillypodcast@gmail.com. We have your... also, your comments, yes, you can go to @MikeTalks on Twitter or the Facebook page, facebook.com/MikesDailyPodcast. That's where you can comment. We read your comments in the section Emails from Email and your comment, not so comments. And check out the website, MikesDailyPodcast.com. If you would like to support the show, there's a link there to Amazon. And if you're going to buy anything on Amazon anyway, go through that and you help support us here at Cafe Anyway. There is also links to where to find us on iTunes. Rate the show and comment on the show in iTunes. And if you do that, more people find out about us. We're also on YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker, Player FM, and Ameristream Live. And I do a morning show weekdays playing a huge swath of music. Yes, that's on the Connecticut radio station called Wolverine Radio. A link to that at mikesdailypodcast.com. Also a link to the country station that I'm on Country Crossroads Radio there at mikesdailypodcast.com. I'm on that weekends. And you can also tell your friends about this show. We're on Instagram. You can tell them about us through Yelp, we're on Tumblr too, and all that at mikesdailypodcast.com. Plus the blog, the Daily Podcast Picture, and all my past interviews. Speaking of interviews, it's time for part 3 of Exohxo.
Into an interview.
Thank you.
I'm speaking to Exohxo and Jason Samford and Danny Olson. I'm Art Bell. I have been talking to them about their album, The Ghost is Clear. And they're in the wonderful town of Seattle, Washington. Why are the girls so hot in Seattle, Washington? Or was that just that one visit I had that I noticed these things?
I think it's always just the sort of phenomenon of going somewhere else and everything looks a little bit different.
Ah, that's what it is.
Because like people say that like, oh, why are the girls so hot in X place? And I think the people in that place are like, what are you talking about? We're just people, you know.
California girls have songs about them. I don't know about
true.
Seattle
they have
girls.
a lot of songs about them. Yeah, there aren't really any Seattle girl songs.
Ah!
I don't know the answer to your question. I'm sorry.
There you go. I'll write a Seattle girls song.
All right.
I think it's because they're trying to compete with us.
That's true. We're very attractive. You can't see. We're about as attractive as Art Bell, maybe a little bit more so.
Does the radio make me sound as hot as I look?
Yeah. And, I have a face for radio.
Don't we all?
And you identify your band, I noticed on the Bandcamp page, as chamber pop. I've never heard that name before.
That was sort of applied to us, I think.
Yeah, we just ran with it.
Yeah, it was a sort of a pithy couple of words that we sort of, whenever you ask someone like, oh, hey, what kind of music did your band play? They always go into like, well, it's kind of transcendental, shower curtain type, I don't know. And so it's always hard to classify oneself, even though usually you can just say like, oh, well, we're indie pop or whatever. Chamber pop, I think, was nice, especially, I mentioned before, the strings, having Hiromi, having sort of that lush sound, I think gives it a feel of chamber music that I think is something that at least I was going for all along. So when that chamber pop moniker came along, I think we just were like, that's as good as anything else, and sort of indicates some uniqueness about us, I guess.
I can't wait to start my new band called Transcendental Shower Curtain.
We're going to be in that band together.
Yeah.
I like to
Yeah. We're Transcendental Shower Curtain, and we're here to rock!
Lead singer Art Bell.
I'm Art Bell, and I'm going to rock the mic. Wickety, wickety, yeah, hill bop. Okay. I wish they all could be Seattle girls. And what famous musician or band would you like to work with? We'll start with JASEN first.
Man.
Never mind. Go ahead, Danny.
Well, I think the thing with JASEN and with both of us is that we so much of the music we like actually kind of overlaps. So there are very few bands that the Kiss is kind of an outlier. I'm not a big Kiss fan, but for the most part, like, I think if either of us or both of us had the opportunity to work with Elvis Costello, we'd probably pass out giggling in a pile on the floor. But
I almost passed out giggling in a pile on the floor because we learned that he played here recently. He played at the Paramount in Seattle, and he showed up for a rehearsal in the building that our rehearsal space is in.
Oh, that's right.
Like, rented out the hourly room at the end of the hall. And I was like, oh my God, I've been in that room! I've been in the same room as Elvis Costello!
Did you guys do any Elvis Costello covers?
We like sound check on radio.
yeah.
Oh.
When we were doing Speaker, I played the bass line. JASEN played drums in that band, so we'd always do the radio thing. We never actually officially covered it.
Do you know? I'm sorry to cut you off,
No,
Danny.
okay.
Yeah, I'm slapping my hand.
Listen here, Art.
Elvis Costello songs are so crammed full of lyrics. The only song like I know all the words to is like Veronica and Every Day I Write the Book. But like Radio has so many words, and you just it's amazing. I love it.
I feel like even he has trouble saying all the words in a sort of comfortable way, but it's still so magical.
Or Pump It Up and yeah, his such a talent.
Yes.
Elvis Costello. But so is that pretty much it? Any other people?
There's tons of.
I don't know. There's so many people.
I think I'd be scared about working with somebody I really admire and just finding out that they're a complete weirdo or a jerk.
Yeah,
We know a guy who worked with Brian Wilson, and he was like, yeah, that guy was kind of freaky, but still it'd be amazing to work with him.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody, JASEN?
I don't know.
I've done a lot of talking.
I was actually just listening to an interview with, it was kind of two separate interviews, Elvis Costello and Paul McCartney, and they were talking about the stuff that they had done together, and Elvis was talking about kind of how nerve-wracking it is to get to meet somebody that you look up to that much. Like, as much as I would love to meet my idols of, like, I don't know, Elvis Costello or Paul McCartney or Dave Grohl, whoever, like, I would fear that I would meet that person and fear or find out that they were just like a terrible jerk. Danny and I are both big fans of Ted Leo and The Pharmacist, and he was playing in Seattle once, and I saw him standing outside talking on his phone. So I was like, oh, I just want to go up and say, like, hey, thanks for the great music. So I was just waiting there for him to get off the phone, and somebody walked by and like asked him for, I don't know, $1 or something. And he just turned around and was like, dude, Casey, I'm on the phone. And I was like, oh no, Ted Leo's a total jerk. So he got off the phone and I was like super timid, like, oh, hi, Ted. I just, he was just like sweetest dude. So that worked out well. But for the most part, I don't know. I think I'd just be too scared that people would be like, you think you deserve to play music with me?
That's kind of my fear too.
Well, I love your song, Trains That Look Like Towns.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Tell me all about this song. I love the twisty-turny kind of chorus and the harmonies, and this gets a good driving song, too.
That's actually kind of how it came about.
Yeah.
So, well, again, going back to Speaker, we toured a lot, and we had this tiny little minivan, and we were like really into our big equipment. Like Jason had a big drum set, I had a bass amp that was about the size of me, and but we toured in this tiny little minivan. So it was all this kind of, it was always a game of Tetris, fitting everything and everyone into the van. And so because I'm the shortest of that group and of this group, I would always kind of I had my little cubby in the back seat. And so like we'd be going through the middle of the country, like it's super hot out, we're blaring AC, blaring music. Jason and Colin would talk in the front, and I could barely ever hear what they would say. So I always felt very left out. We should talk about that, by the way. But at one point, it was at night, we were driving by. You'll need to jump in and correct me if I get this wrong, because again, I didn't really hear it that well. We're driving by. It was a lot of lights. It was just whatever, you tell this part. So I wasn't there for this part. I was there, but an important
part of the story is we were driving from like Nebraska to Montana. It was like a really long, all through the night kind of drive. We were exhausted, and there was this long string of lights off the side of the road, and Colin was driving. He was like, dude, check out that train. And I looked over at like the row of houses, the residential area off the side of the freeway. I was like, what? Where? There's no train. He's like, look, all those lights, that train. I was like, those that's not a train, that's a town. And so it was actually a town that Colin thought looked like a train. But then in writing the song and in Danny not quite hearing how things were actually said from being way in the back of the van, crammed in his little cubby.
Towns that look like trains is a terrible name.
Yeah, it's the worst.
So trains that look like towns is much better.
Yep.
But so that was the sort of theme that I started writing the song about. It was kind of about, touring was a really awesome experience, also very difficult, but it really marked a time in our lives. And I felt like that experience was something that, it was a moment that kind of embodied a lot of our experience on the road for me, kind of the way we interact and the way we make each other laugh and everything. And so that kind of became a song that I wrote about just kind of where I'm at this point in my life. The end of the song is sort of, I get you kind of say, like it's a peppy song, but again, it's sort of, there sort of some melancholy things referenced in there that I am not very heart on sleeve, as Jason said, about. But overall, it was my attempt to actually write a happy song, because I write a lot of very sad songs, and I think I partially succeeded to write something that at least sounded happy, if not fully lyrically happy. But yeah, that's Trains That Look Like Towns.
And who's singing it?
That's me. That's Dan.
That's Dan. Okay. And Up to Me, is that?
That's Jason.
That's Jason. Okay. So, Danny, let's hear the song Exohxo, a song that you wrote.
All right.
Trains That Look Like Towns.
Yes.
Because Towns That Look Like Trains is stupid. Get that out of here. Take that off the album. Then they can find this on the album, The Ghost Is Clear.
That's true. And the last track.
Go to exohxo.com. EXOHXO. Wait. Yes. .com.
Good.
And here they are on Mike's Daily Podcast.
Our hands are the machines, and our bodies figurines. I'm taking all my pieces back from all the places where I left myself behind, and our eyes light up the night with our voices sounding right. Although we don't know who at how the landscape rolls out. Trains can look like towns that follow you and catch you when you fall. And look at how the small words we had have taught us what the silence means when nobody is scared. Although we feel unprepared for what's to come. And our wounds are on the mend as our joints begin to bend. Although we know that we could be running faster, it's nice to be still and let the moments come our way. Look at how the landscape rolls out. Trains can look like towns that follow you to catch you when you fall. And look at how the small words we had have taught us what the silence means when nobody is scared. Although we feel unprepared for what's to come. Look at how the landscape rolls out. And trains can look like towns that follow you to catch you when you fall. And look at how the small words we had taught us what the silence means when nobody is scared. Although we feel unprepared for what's to come. And look at how the lightning bugs are never where you saw them lighting up. And how the trees are all in minds as if inviting us to run. We're on the fire escape, escaping from the fires of our families. The wind is whispering in our ears, we will never die, we will never die.
Trains that look like towns. It's Exohxo as we go outside of Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth located somewhere in PodCastro Valley where we bring you Mike's daily podcast. The next show we will have the finale of my interview with Exohxo.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The picture is of Basil the Boxer and I. This was when we went to Point Isabel a little bit earlier this year, and it was still kind of stormy and cloudy and a little bit chilly, and we got this picture with the San Francisco in the background. The lights are just turning on because the sun is just going down. It's a neat picture. Interesting mood behind it. I hope you enjoy it. There at mikesdailypodcast.com. Mike, I made my mashed taters. All right. Give me some of that. Oh my gosh. Steaming. So delicious. So I'm a horrible actor. Yeah, I didn't really bring any. What are you talking about? I was just sort of trying to make it seem like there was a bunch of mashed potatoes in front of us. But there's not. Yeah, that way it's got less calories when you don't actually make it. That's true. Next show, part 3 of the Into an Interview with Exohxo. Plus, we'll hear from Adam Rutabaga, Valentino, and Bison Bentley.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!